I was watching a video of this guy and he was talking about how he gets hours and hours of sleep, but he doesn't feel rested when he wakes up in the morning. And so I was like, man, drop the ball. But resilience is the key. So basically he's not getting rested. And I was like, wow, a lot of people struggle with this. Let me chat about it. So insulin is really usually the cause of the case in the scenario where you're not feeling rested. I've done a lot of experiments with my fasting state, and what time you eat before bed is important. Like, you want to start eating, stop eating once the sun is starting to go down, once it's starting to get darker. You typically want to close your feeding window then. The body, because we are meant to eat with the light helps us digest food. If you remember me talking about how the sunlight helps degrade tryptophan, right? It helps to degrade the proteins, the enzymes, all the things that we give our diet. Our environment helps us to break it down, like movement. So we're having insulin chronically elevated at night. What this does is it basically shuts down our immune function, and it is a part of being in that state of fight or flight for an extended period of time. But it's really dangerous to have insulin constantly elevated in the bloodstream, because insulin is a growth factor. So what it does is, when the cells are just chilling out in the bloodstream, they are looking for which hormones are in the area, because they are essentially like blind, right? But they can see and sense the hormones and everything that's going around. So that is their mirror and their signal to express certain genetic pathways. And we can think about how we don't want a constant growth proliferative pathway turned on, because this is the growth of a tumor or the growth of really anything foreign in the body that shouldn't be there. We want these hardcore, I always say, on and off switches. So if I'm gonna have a hardcore on switch for insulin is great because we need it to be present when we eat, because it helps bring sugar into the cell. Once we're done eating, once we have taken in the nutrients and our cells are satiated and balanced, then our body wants to go back to that baseline homeostasis. It wants to maintain the level of glucose, like we want to maintain the level of sodium within our blood, or our oxygen levels, right? If you have too much, if you have too little, everything goes crazy. So you want to have that little maintenance cap for it. And when our blood sugar gets low, we have another hormone that comes from the pancreas, same place as insulin, called glucagon. So glucagon will rise in the blood, and then once it's arisen around the blood, the cells are looking and they're like, oh, okay, well, we know that we're going to have this pathway. This pathway is related to immune function, so restoration and building. It's related to the central metabolism, so the body can decide that it wants to burn more fat, right? There's a lot of decisions made, but basically don't have to worry about digesting right now, and it's expensive. It costs money, costs energy to digest in the body. So if you're not eating a diet high in amino acids, the nutrients that we need for our safety signal, then the body's going to be in a stressed out state, and you're going to have insulin risen up all the time. But the point is that if you want to start resting deeper, and I've done all these experiments through my Oura Ring, tracking my Oura Ring and my HRV over the last 3 years, and it's been a great tool for me to check and make sure that what's happening is what's happening. So basically, when I stop eating earlier, once the sun is starting to go down, my body has a chance to rest. So my respiratory rate is lower at night. This is so important. We want everything at night. It's like throwing a fish on ice. We want to slow everything down. Just slow it down. Conserve the energy. There is actually so much energy that happens because the body is like, when it's in its cleaning mode, it's like it's sweeping. Like the sweep team comes in, like the cerebral spinal fluid comes throughout the brain, swooshes everything out that doesn't need to be there, cleanses everything. It's like a little car wash, I always think about it, in the brain. And so we need that to happen. And that's associated with the delta wave sleep stage, which the delta waves are slower, deeper waves connected to things like your resting heart rate and your respiratory rate at night. So when I eat right before bed, my heart rate, like even last night, I had I had some little pork chops when I got home because I was hungry, and they were so good, but my heart rate, even though it was able to drop perfectly fine and my HRV turned out really well today, my heart rate was still elevated. It took a while for my body to kind of ease down in my resting. My respiratory rate could have been lower, but the experiments that I really look for are the experiments when I am actually fasting and seeing the massive difference in my sleep, in my resting heart rate, and my respiratory rate, and my body temperatures and everything. And I really feel to be getting like deep restful sleep. So if you're someone that has trouble sleeping, and anybody watching this over the age of 50, you can consider yourself having trouble sleeping, because as we age, we just lose the ability to sleep. So as you age, if you can consider yourself more sensitive than the general public, that would be a great idea for you to help feed your immune system, to put on muscle, and to delay the degradation process, because we don't last forever. And when you get older, you start to realize this. Your joints hurt, blah, blah, blah. What are joints? Joints are collagen. They need plenty of amino acids. Your immune system that's being compromised as you get older needs plenty of amino acids, right? And in order to stay healthy, and it's important to practice the stress response, to practice on the system that your body is. So how do I produce more endogenous melatonin? I gotta eat the amino acid tryptophan. Okay. Oh, protein. Look up that Dr. Gabrielle Lyon. She does geriatric work with her clients, and she prioritizes protein. So when we get older, we don't synthesize these proteins as much. We don't synthesize as much melatonin. We have to be more helpers to our body. We have to treat our bodies like a little 4-year-old child that needs something, right? The little kid doesn't want to go brush their teeth before bed, but look, you got to do this because it's for your health. You got to make sure that you clean your mouth out, that you wash your body, right? Because we don't want them to get ill. That's basically what happens when we get older, but we get to this place where we're very complacent. And if you are 50 or older, you grew up in the time frame of America where we were told a lot of things about nutrition that weren't exactly correct, and we can see that now. And we can even go back to just cigarettes were at one point in time told that they were healthy for us. So we want to question everything and prioritize our learning and our knowledge. So learning about amino acids, learning about fatty acids, and learning about things like using your central metabolism that will train your cholesterol. You have problems with your cholesterol? Train your cholesterol, train your glucagon pathways by resistance training, by getting in the sunlight, by having a fasting window. Don't ever cut your calories, but maximize the amino acid, essential fatty acid intake, and then give your body plenty of time to rest. So very, very simple, clean water. There's not much more to it, you just gotta get in with it and prioritize your rest. So anyway, I hope this was helpful as always. I hope you're able to sleep better once you make these little habitual changes. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, good luck.